Nation, what's up? You're watching the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. Tyler and Caroline here with you. Did I blow your eardrums?
Nope, you're all good. I just realized I forgot my water.
Oh no, Tyler without water is scary, guys. I don't think I've ever seen it
Liam,
since I've known
it's
him.
in my bag. Sorry, buddy.
Is this superstition or you like need to stay hydrated?
Thanks, big guy. No, we're good.
Producer Liam doing more than just hitting record and getting all our graphics ready. He's basically like our dad of the show, making sure
we're
about
being hydrated.
Yeah.
What if I would have started coughing? There would have been nothing. Show would have been ruined.
I love it. Okay, honestly, we always recap, and what a game to recap. Huge win against the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Edmonton Oilers, beating a top 5 team in the NHL, and a complete performance from top to bottom from the Oilers.
Yeah, there's a lot to really, really like in that hockey game. First off, second time now in a month they've played the Tampa Bay Lightning, and second time in a month that they've dominated the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like they should have been 2-0 against this team if they would have gotten goaltending from Mike Smith. I don't need to go there because they did get goaltending on Saturday, and they got a great performance in front of Mikko Koskinen. The shots at 5-on-5 were 30-18 for the Oilers. The shots in the game 49-32. 49 shots on goal against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. The Oilers brought it, and when that game got made 2-1 late on the Bogosian goal, I was sitting there being like, man, the Oilers deserve to be up 4-5-1 in this hockey game.
I love when Tyler gets excited because I'm like, okay, I feel like I don't want to jinx anything, but I just feel a good energy brewing for tonight. All right, let's talk about Connor McDavid. Not always the most vocal guy on the team, as we know, or the most vocal guy in the league, but just like Jay Woodcroft said after the game, he leads by example. It's exactly what we saw from our captain against the Lightning. 2 massive goals from Connor McDavid, and a guy that when you see him do the stuff that only Connor McDavid can do, not only, like, I can't imagine what it's like to be on the ice, because as someone who's watching the game, I'm like, we witnessed him do unbelievable things.
I think the energy you'd get from a goal like that from Connor McDavid is unreal. And forget the fact he scored twice. Like, 2 goals is huge no matter when they come, how they come, whatever. But him scoring them when he did. First period, they're playing so well. They're getting all these chances. Brian Elliott's playing good, and you're kind of sitting there doing the whole classic Oilers thing where it's like, they're playing well, but are they going to find a way to get scored on here right away and lose momentum? And then bang, Connor McDavid turns on the Jets. It's 1-0. Second period was really more the same thing. You're like, hey, they're playing so well. The power play is struggling. Power play was terrible. Like, once again, just awful performance on the power play. But you get one late in the second, and it's like, okay, if you can put your foot down here, go up 2-0, you're that much more comfortable heading into the third. And who else but the captain to go out and score a big power play marker late in the period? You're up 2-0, and you just feel that much better about yourself. You didn't give Tampa Bay any sense that they were lingering around in that game heading into the intermission. I do think that's big.
I love it. And Connor's ride or die brother, Leon Draisaitl, goal and assist on the night as well. It's just so good to see these two guys going, and especially in the same game.
Yeah, and a clutch goal from Draisaitl as well, once again with the timing, right? You had Tampa make it 2-1, and you're sitting there going, geez, this Lightning team is just going to find a way to hang around this hockey game once again. And then Draisaitl gets a break the other way, buries. And how about the celebrations from both of them on those goals? Like, we've talked about wanting games to have more of that desperate playoff feel to them. And you had the big celebration from McDavid. You had the big celebration from Draisaitl. You had some big scrums as well. That fourth line with Cassian, Archibald, and Malone, they didn't play a lot, but they made an impact on that game. And I think that says a lot. Like, they were only down on the ice at 5-on-5 for like 5 minutes together in that game, but they were impactful. They made a difference.
Well, let's talk about Cassian, because you mentioned as we were talking off camera, you want to bring up Cassian. We saw that he was out for a month, returned since, the Washington Capitals game, and someone that we want to bring that spice back in the lineup that we know Cassian can bring.
2 of his better games this season, really, since he's come back. And I know there's been a lot made about him wearing the bubble, and I do think there's something to be said about him maybe feeling a little bit safer. Like, whether it's right or wrong, he can go out and run around and do whatever he wants, and he doesn't need to answer for it because he can't fight, right? And maybe someone else, there'll come a time where someone else needs to answer the bell for Zach Cassian. But for right now, I'm really hoping this can be a bit of a launching pad for him when the bubble comes off, when the playoffs roll around, as this season even just keeps going. Maybe he can be a guy who starts looking more like that 2017 Zach Cassian that we talked so much about.
I love it. Another guy I want to highlight, and guys, keep us posted with what you think in the chat. Kyler Yamamoto, 3 points in his last 2 games. Like, let's just think about where he was at the start of this season and maybe all the criticism he was getting because of his performance to where he is now, to everyone, not everyone, I don't want to assume that it's all of Oilers Nation, but a large majority loving the grit that he brings on the ice.
Yeah, 13 goals in 58 games. This is a guy who's probably going to finish the year around that 17, 18, 19 goal mark, right? Maybe he even finds a way to stay hot and get his way to 20 goals. But the other thing I like about Yamamoto is just, things weren't going well for him for a while. And there was a lot of frustration from a lot of people that follow this team, myself included. And it was that he wasn't finishing. But the thing you always liked about Yamamoto is that he worked hard, right? Yes. And he always found ways to create turnovers and bring a little bit of energy for the most part. The other thing, too, look around the Oilers' top 6 this year. Puljujarvi, he's been hurt. Nugent-Hopkins, he's been hurt. Hyman missed a month.
Yep.
Yamamoto's played 58 of the 59 games. Like, he's found a way to stay in the lineup. He's making a difference. He's been a bit of a constant for this team, and they needed that.
I love it. And guys, I just want to quickly talk about Jay Woodcroft. And, after the game against the Lightning, he said, I think we have the people to get the job done, and they got the job done tonight. I'm proud of them. It hasn't been the easiest last few weeks for the Oilers. They lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have lost. But that positivity, that acknowledgement, that reassurance, the confidence, the energy from your head coach, where he trusts you and he instills that pride in this team, it has to go a long way in terms of the morale in the locker room.
Yeah, I think it absolutely does. I mean, winning games helps as well, but I do think Jay Woodcroft has definitely just been a breath of fresh air for a lot of guys in that room. When you're one of those players who's not worried that, hey, I'm one mistake away from getting knocked out of the lineup, or the other side of that coin, which I think was an issue under Dave Tippett, is if you were in the bottom 6 and you were playing well, it wasn't always rewarded. Yeah. Whereas with Woodcroft, it really feels like, Derek Ryan has found a home on the third line. Even if he has a couple of bad games, he stays on the third line. If he plays well, he's out there on the second power play unit. Yeah. He's getting a few more minutes. And I think that really gives you, accountability is maybe not the right word, but it gives you a sense of that you're making an impact. Yeah. And if you go out and play well, you're going to be rewarded for that. And I think that's been big as well. That ties into Mikko Koskinen,
Absolutely.
I think.
I was just about to say, Derek Ryan's one guy who's really excelled under Woodcroft. Mikko Koskinen's another one. 31 big saves on the night. I don't want to assume that he's a fan favorite right now, but I think everyone is really appreciating Mikko Koskinen and is really rooting for him.
I think in that room he's a favorite.
Which you'd have to assume, right?
And again, he's been through a lot, and I think the team's rallying around him a little. You can even see after these wins when Mikko's playing as well as he is, there's some extra passion in those goalie hugs after the game. And I think there's something to read into there. I think the group really likes playing in front of Mikko Koskinen, especially right now, and he's rewarding them. I mean, the big knock on Mikko has been, he's always giving up that one bad goal. He's always giving up that one bad goal. But now right now he's always making that one big save. Yeah. Go back to the first period against Washington, stopping Ovechkin on the breakaway. Against Tampa, they're down. They're killing a 5-on-3. They're only up by 1 goal. You're sitting there going, this is when Tampa Bay turns it around and ties this game. He stops Steven Stamkos coming across the crease. A beautiful save. He's been making the big saves for them, and I think the group in front of him appreciates that.
Absolutely. I mean, Woodcroft said it himself that he himself feels confident in Mikko, and that the team feels confident in him. And I think that's got to be such just an absolute ego boost for Mikko in the best and most positive way. And I love that Mikko claps back to the media right now when they ask him, hey, are you worried about fatigue if you have to go on a run? And he's just like, it's all in your guys' heads. And I love that Mikko has that confidence, whether you want to talk about his past and what he's been like in the past, to have that confidence and not let someone come into his space and add negativity when he's been doing really well. I'm all for it. And I'm Team Mikko right now.
Yeah, and I think everyone is. It's now been 12 or 13 games where this guy's given up 3 or less in regulation. So he's getting the start once again here tonight. I know he said the media is making up the whole workload thing. My counter argument to that would be the numbers show it. Yeah. But him fighting back like that does show he's got some confidence and some swagger. But if you're Jay Woodcroft, I don't think your mindset is the media's making that up. I think Woodcroft's mindset needs to be, all right, I maybe need to make sure I'm giving this guy a game off here and there to make sure he stays fresh.
Absolutely, right? Give him the confidence, stay cautious, and do what's best for Mikko Koskinen and the team. Yeah. But in the same breath, I'm like, he doesn't need negativity creeping in. Let Mikko do Mikko right now. And then when we have to worry, we'll unfortunately talk about it on the pregame show.
Yeah, Mike in the Twitch chat, I like Woody's one day at a time mentality. Take care of the day, and the weeks and the months will take care of themselves. And I think that's a great mindset as well. And that goes into, you look at the Oilers in the playoff situation right now. You are not clinching a playoff spot in one day. Yeah. You're not clinching a playoff spot in 1 week. You need to bring consistency for the next however many, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks here if you want to stay in the hunt. And tonight, You're getting a chance to go up against a Red Wings team that's not that good, and every game is meaningful down the stretch here and into the playoffs, and tonight is no different. You win this hockey game, you hit that 70-point mark, you're 2 clear of Vegas. Here, we're getting a look right now on what kind of you have to look at tonight. There's another chance that this is a big, big evening for the Oilers in terms of the playoff race. Colorado rolling into LA. That's not a very winnable game for the LA Kings. Vegas is heading into Winnipeg. Again, Vegas is just, they can't win nothing right now. And Winnipeg is maybe starting to turn a little bit of a corner here. There's a couple of out-of-town scoreboard spots where you're looking at, even Nashville taking on Pittsburgh. Dallas is in Toronto. I know Toronto's got some goaltending issues, but like there's a very real chance that Vegas and LA lose tonight. And if you're Edmonton, you got to be licking your chops staring down this matchup against the Detroit Red Wings going, hey, this is a great chance for us to make another big jump in that Western Conference playoff picture.
I love it. And on that note, let's move right into the opposition report presented by Yegberger. And first, Randy says in the chat, big game here. Let's go get the W to keep putting the lead on Vegas and keep pushing. John says, needs to push hard tonight and keep them on their heels. We 100% agree with that, everyone. Obviously on home ice tonight, taking on the Red Wings, who are 24, 28, and 7. They're on a 5-game losing streak, and most recently falling 3-0 to the Flames on Saturday. So Tyler, like you just said, perfectly said, another big opportunity for the Oilers to finish the day off with 2 points.
Yeah, and you mentioned 5-game losing streak. They've been outshot in all 5 of those games, both at 5-on-5 and on the special team side of things. They've allowed 26 goals against in those 5 games. They're allowing more than 5 goals against on average per game in this losing streak. It's been a really, really rough stretch for Detroit. A big reason why special teams has been hurting them since January 1st. Their penalty kill is running at just 56.3%. Yeah. They are barely killing off 50% of the penalties that they take. That's a spot the Oilers definitely need to take advantage of in this hockey game. The other thing that's helping the Oilers tonight, we'll get to this with the line combos in just a second, no Tyler Bertuzzi for Detroit.
Yes.
He's unvaccinated. He can't come to Canada. So he's healthy. He's fine. He's seemingly ready to go, but he can't get into Canada. He's one of their better players, if not their best forward next to Dylan Larkin. That's a big loss for Detroit in this hockey game and a big advantage for Edmonton.
Well, on that note, let's move on to the lines for the Red Wings.
Yeah, let's get into it here. The top line for Detroit, it's going to be Dylan Larkin with Lucas Raymond, the super rookie, on the right side, and Vlad Nemesnikov taking over that Tyler Bertuzzi spot on the left. The second line, Joe Veleno down the middle with Jacob Vrana. 5 goals in his last 5. He's been one of the lone bright spots for this Red Wings team. And Sam Gagner, Sammy G, back in Edmonton. I know people are already in the chat asking us, what do the Oilers have to do to bring Gagner back for a playoff run? Probably not happening. But Gagner is going to get some top 6 minutes tonight. Pius Suter with Adam Ern and Philip Zadina, who's had his name around the trade talk a little bit here the last couple of weeks. The fourth line is Michael Rasmussen, Giovanni Smith, and Luke Witkowski. Smith and Witkowski, 2 guys who are not afraid to drop the mitts. They've been mixing it up a lot over the Red Wings' last few games. The D pairings, Nick Leddy on the left side of the top pairing with the likely Calder Trophy winner, Moritz Seider, on the right side. Our friends at PointsBet have Seider at the top of the Calder Trophy odds board. Jordan Osterley, former Oiler, played 25 games with the Oilers on the left side. He's playing with Phil Hronek. Mark Stahl, who just played his 1,000th game with Troy Stecher on the third pairing. And no confirmed starter yet for the Red Wings, but I believe it's going to be Alexander Nedeljkovic. In his last 2 starts, Nedeljkovic has allowed 12 goals against.
Love it. And how about for the Edmonton Oilers?
For the Oilers, I think they're running the same lineup, actually. There was some talk that Jesse Puljujarvi might sneak his way into the lineup here. Doesn't sound like he's quite ready to go. So McDavid, Kane, Yamamoto is the top line. Draisaitl, Hyman, McLeod is the second line. Shore, Fogle, and Derek Ryan. And then Brad Malone, Josh Archibald, and Zach Kassian as that fourth line that we gave some praise to earlier. The D pairings expected to stay the same as well. Nurse with Ceci, Keith with Bouchard, Broberg with Barry, and Mikko Koskinen will look to keep his impressive run going between the pipes tonight.
Woo, woo. All right, we got Dean in the chat saying, Team Mikko. He's always stayed classy even when fans were trying to drive him out of town. We got Will saying, how do we not lower ourselves to the level of competitors? Big test for Woodcroft to continue to push the right buttons regardless of the name and the number on the back of the jersey.
And again, this is an issue that the Oilers have had. It seemed like it went away, but it's kind of crept back in over the last couple months. Like, they let a game slip against the Senators back in January. They let 2 really slip away against the Senators that month. They've dropped some games to weak opponents. Think about that Chicago game. The last 2 Chicago games as well you could put in that category. So tonight, you're on home ice. You've won 2 in a row. The vibes are good. You got some momentum. don't lay an egg against a bad team. And this Detroit team is playing very bad right now. This is definitely a winnable game, and you're right. I think this is a chance for Woodcroft to show that he can instill that right mindset in the Oilers.
All right, perfect. Tyler, where are you putting your money for our bet of the game presented by PointsBet?
Well, let's start by taking a look at the line here because the Oilers are big-time favorites here. First time in a few games they've been favorites as well. Minus 261 on the money line. If you like them in regulation, it's minus 160. If you like them on the puck line, which I do, it is paying out minus 110. I think that is certainly an interesting spot. The over-under is set at 6.5. The Oilers team total is set at 3.5, but it's not paying out very well, so it's probably not worth it there. If you like the team total, you should probably just take the puck line and take the minus 110 payout there. In terms of a prop bet, my boy Gavin from Nate sitting in, he pointed out Zach Hyman hasn't scored in 8 games. He's taken 35 shots since his last goal. Statistically, Hyman is due plus 175. Zach Hyman, anytime goal. Take it to the bank.
Good work, team. All right, Travis in the chat saying that he thinks the biggest takeaway from the last game for him was the chemistry of the Draisaitl line. Excited if they can keep it going tonight. Cassian is back from Will. Cassian's back, and if he can play like this, I'm going to love it. He's flying, skating, hitting. So lots of positive comments. People want Nuge back in the lineup, which is so funny because today before our pregame show, I was like, I miss Nuge. I just miss his presence on the ice. I think he's such a smart player, and I know that all Oilers fans, I'm going to speak for everyone in this, saying we can't wait till he's back. Yeah,
and I think this is one of those things that he impacts every area of the game. And you look at kind of the Oilers depth chart here and how things could shake out when everyone's healthy. Like, they're winning these games. They're beating Tampa. They're beating Washington. Missing 2 really impactful forwards in Nuge and Puljujarvi. When everyone's healthy, again, the competition's getting weaker here. You're hoping that at least by next week, you're getting Nuge back. Potentially next game, you're getting Jesse Puljujarvi back. When everyone's healthy, you know, the dominoes are lining up for this team to really just push forward and go on a nice run here.
Anything in your chat, Tyler?
Genesis says Gagne goal count. Hey, Gagne can score 5 as long as the Oilers score 6 tonight for all I care. And that'd be great to see because who doesn't love Sammy G? Scott Aroni, trade for Larson. Probably not happening there, but we are just 6 days away from the trade deadline. Should promote again. We'll have you covered on Oilers Nation. We'll also have you covered on Daily Faceoff. I'm going to be sitting right here for 3.5 hours with Frank Saravalli going live on deadline day.
That water bottle should not be beside you if you're sitting here for 3.5 hours, Tyler.
No kidding. But I mean, staying hydrated is important.
That day you don't have to hydrate, hey?
Yeah, no.
Or at least hydrate after, post-game.
Genesis, Malone, let's go. If that's a goal prediction, I love it. Drop your goal predictions in the chat. Why not? Scott Aroni, when is Jesse back again? It sounds like maybe against Buffalo. He's skating. He's skating in a contact jersey. It's just a matter of him getting that extra little 1% back and them making sure he's ready to go. So it could be Thursday. I'd say at the latest it's Saturday. If it stretches further than that, I'd honestly be pretty surprised. A lot of love for Sammy G in the Twitch chat, though. Who doesn't? You love to see it. Genesis, again, the bottom 3 lines for Detroit sound made up. And honestly, yeah, they kind of do.
I'm feeling pretty good about this game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too.
I think, and not even so much so that it's the Red Wings, but because of how well they did in their last game. So hopefully they can just keep that momentum going. Yeah,
like, again, Edmonton's playing so well. They're playing good teams so well. It would be really deflating if they don't find a way to come out on top in this hockey game and not even just win. Like, don't squeak one out.
Yes.
Like, go put the pedal to the floor and really lay it to them. Like, Detroit's just not that good, and I really hope Edmonton shows that they've truly turned a corner here tonight. It's going to be a fun night of hockey. Like, Oilers game starts at 7, but you look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and there is a ton to keep an eye on tonight around the NHL, so it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, guys, puck drop at 7 p.m. We'll see you on Twitter, and thanks for watching our giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford.